I want to pull up this tweet from Alvin. Elon Musk responded to this tweet with an exclamation point. He said, "Dear God, what the F? I give you now this image, Threads, an Instagram app. I'll give you the short version. They're basically spying on you in every way imaginable. Data safety. Let's see. Data shared, personal info, device or other IDs, data collected, location, personal info, financial info, health and fitness, messages, photos and videos, audio, files and docs, calendars, contacts, app activity, web browsing, app info and performance, device or other IDs." Now that's amazing. They do say it's encrypted.
Can you say no to those? There's these caret drop downs on the right. Can you click those? I mean, this isn't obviously interactable.
This is basically saying what they're doing. So look at this.
Like, you have to opt in or out?
They have your location.
What's
they
this
have your
account
name,
here?
email, user ID, address, phone number, political or religious beliefs, sexual orientation.
A lot of times you'll be able to opt out, but they'll opt you in if you
Look
don't
at this.
know.
They take your financial info, your credit score. You are giving them. Is this for? Like, if this is legitimate, I just want to make sure. Like someone posted this, and assuming this is real, like you're giving your credit score, your health info and fitness info, so how much you weigh, your blood levels.
Advertisers must be so aroused right now. This is everything they can
Look at
possibly
this.
You're giving your
want on us.
emails,
Voice or sound recordings, files and documents. Quite literally, it can go into your calendar events. What is all of your contacts?
You can look at all your videos on your phone. The contacts is crazy, because if some random person that never signed up for social media is in my phone, then now Instagram has them and they'll start marketing to them.
Well, not just even more insidiously, we know the federal government has been working with social media companies. If they can see who's following, who's not just following on social media, but actually who has who in their phone's contacts, that's really, really scary.
Just today I saw that someone a former CIA employee, someone that worked for CIA, is now moved over to, I believe it was Facebook Meta. I'm looking for the tweet now, but...
I actually had an experience a couple weeks ago. Alex Jones was on the PBD podcast, Patrick Bet-David, and he asked some question on there, like, if we install in Russia, if there's like a new leader is installed and they're sympathetic to the West, what will happen? And nobody really had an answer. And I was going to text him, Alex, and be like, well, I think that would move us towards totalitarian, technocracy, a little bit faster, more peaceful, but also that. And I just didn't message him because I don't want the FBI reading what a bullshit fucking... I was so angry at myself that I didn't be brave. So
the guy that is for the CIA, Aaron Berman, former 17-year CIA officer, is now head of elections policy for Facebook and Instagram. Berman joined Facebook in 2019 and was responsible for writing misinformation policy and enforcing it for the 2020 election, COVID, Brazilian elections, etc. He's joined by 15 other CIA, FBI, and DHS working in trust and safety for Meta.
That is so gross.
So real quick, I did confirm these images. It's in the Play Store. It is real.
Can you drop them down on the right?
One thing I want to do real quick, though, is I went to the Twitter app on the Play Store. I do not see the same thing. It doesn't have anywhere. Yeah, it doesn't have this stuff.
Who's that guy that tweeted that? Because I want to take a look and retweet that.
Jesus, it's so hard to navigate.
That's not.
So when I go to Twitter, I don't see it. Let me see what Truth Social does. Data safety starts with you, blah, blah, blah. See the details. So data collected from Truth Social. Your personal info, email addresses, user ID, phone number, messages, other in-app messages, photos and videos, contacts, app activity, info performance, and device IDs. That's actually all normal, right? The reason why it says photos and videos, and this is true for Meta, is because you post them, so it needs access to those. It doesn't have anything else. I mean, contacts are there because it'll ask you. In-app messages, I don't care about. Your email address will, of course, you log in.
Sign in with that.
So it is true that Threads by Instagram is basically audio files. Like, it's taking everything.
Yeah, it's probably government.
It's the same thing that TikTok does.
I wonder if Instagram does the same thing.
People talked about the amounts of data that TikTok collects. Sounds like Threads does the same.
Instagram has basically the same thing. Instagram basically takes everything as well.
Yeah.
This is Facebook. This is what they do.
And like, knowing that, man, how can people? It's just such a convenient tool, but it's so insidious that they're tracking not your every move, but
all right, Twitter,
your psychology.
Twitter takes not nearly as much. It doesn't access your files and documents, but it does have quite a bit of information. Your web browsing history, Twitter takes. app functionality, analytics, advertising, and marketing, your web browsing history. Twitter takes that too. So it looks like Twitter is very bad. Threads is substantially worse, but don't be surprised when everyone's spying on you. And I'll make sure it's clear that I don't want to single out Threads on this one. They are spying on you to a greater degree than the other ones, but they're all spying on you quite a bit.
Well, I mean, anyone who has an Alexa or a Google Home Assistant or whatever they're called, that is essentially a wiretap that you've allowed into your home.
All these phones are. This phone is tracking me right now because if you say, what is the thing?
The voice activation.
Okay, Google.
Does your phone?
Beep,
it turned on.
It buzzed. Well, I pushed the button.
Oh, okay.
How can I help?
So
Stop.
Here's what people need to understand.
Trash.
If your phone, TV, or any other device has voice activation, that means it is listening to every single word you say.
And very likely recording it and transmitting it to a database.
It has to record it. The way voice activation works is that it records what you say, sends it to a company for analysis, who then scan it for text to convert it to text and sends it back to the TV. So if your TV is voice activated, many people have this now, if you can just walk up and say something like, okay, Google or whatever, every word out of your mouth gets sent to this company for analysis, and it's just waiting to hear the activation command. They save all that data.
Of course.
They keep it all. What they say is, don't worry, it's anonymized. We don't actually know who you are. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you know who you are because I'm talking about who I am. You can't really have all of my personal conversations and say it's anonymous because no, it's not. That's not how conversations work. But our TV actually has something where we can turn off the voice activation function through the hardware. Like a lot of laptops have that with webcams now. But if you do that, there's a stupid little light that will remain on, and it's annoying because they want you to have the thing open.
Right.
Because they want to be listening to you.
They also, this Alvin guy also posted this app privacy from Instagram, and it says, the following data may be collected and linked to your identity: health and fitness, financial info, contact info, user content, browsing history, usage data, diagnostics, purchases, locations, context, search history, identifiers, sensitive info, and other data.
What the hell does that mean?
My favorite was credit score.
Info.
It said credit score.
Your credit score.
Dude, Zuckerberg just wants to know everything about you.
Yep.
I think it's
because
But that's
loves
crazy.
you.
I mean, think about what that means for advertisers. If they're plugged into your credit score, they can actually bid to advertise on people who have good credit scores. Like if you're a credit card or something like that, that's scary.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
You know what I wonder if maybe the AI took over a long time ago and it's just learning everything possible about us. We don't realize we're under its spell.
It feels inevitable. I don't know if I'm broken and I'm just giving up, or if it's actually inevitable. The AI takeover, not like electricity didn't take us over. We weren't taken over by it. We just all use it mostly. So AI, it might be similar. It might not take us. We might just all use it. But what a powerful tool, especially when it can talk to you and tell you things.
What, the AI?
The artificial intelligence. It's freaking weird, man.
No, AI really scares me, and it's also kind of ironic. And people have been posting about this. Like we assumed AI and technology would come, so we would be relieved of menial jobs, especially that's the dream if you're on the left. But instead, it's all of the creatives that are being put out of work almost first. I mean, obviously, technology has been for a long time phasing out lower skilled jobs, but it's now even the good jobs that people were aspiring to, those are the ones that are also being wiped out by AI. The graphic designers, the writers.
Yeah, it's less about can you physically draw the picture now, and more about can you conceive of the description verbally, and then give the computer an accurate, intricate descriptive.
So it can come up with it.
It's another type of art form. It'll produce another generation.
Actually, so I did a poll on that on my Twitter, and it was quite the lively debate whether AI art actually counts as art. Is it art? What is art? I mean, that's philosophical, but I think it is art. A lot of people will say it is not art if it's created by AI.
Incorrect. It is.
I agree, because I think there are so many different tools that we have evolved throughout time using to create art.
Exactly.
Why are we placing the limit on AI?
Yeah, because if you use a laser to carve something into wood.
Yeah, and I mean, people will say, well, it's just an amalgamation of previous art. Well, isn't that any art anyway? We are the creation is usually the product of, I guess, absorbing other works and then your own interpretation of it.
When someone paints a picture and uses the tools, paints or a paintbrush or whatever it is they're using, now people can do all sorts of different crazy art. They'll take coins and then line them up so that it makes a big picture. The AI is just basically a paintbrush. What you input into it may not actually be good art. You might say, hey, make this picture. It makes one. You say, hey, everybody, look what my AI thing did. And you're like, that's stupid. And then someone might put it in, refine it, put the photo back in, say, change this, change that, and then refine it to the point where it actually makes a really cool picture. But admittedly, it's just getting easier and easier to make stuff. The scarier thing about it is if all art is just derivative of other art, then eventually all art will be derivative of AI. AI will just be regurgitating the same things without new human thought and input.
But it's crazy because I mean I've been working on stuff with like different logos, and we are working with a graphic designer, like an actual person, to come up with stuff. And then one day I was like, I'm just gonna try one of these AI logo generators. I just want to see, because we're kind of like we're at an impasse where nothing's really like sparking. Man, the AI ones were good.
Oh, wow.
They were really good. They were better. There's like, man, this is actually solid, and it's faster and it's cheaper. But, I want to support the actual person, but it's just hard when the AI product is, in a lot of ways, genuinely better.
I want to point out a couple articles real quick, because we're talking about Threads. And even though a bunch of people on the left are trying to abandon Twitter for this, look at this one from Vice. I've seen posts you people wouldn't believe: the birth of an awful mutant baby. A man explaining that the symptoms of acute radiation poisoning are similar to panic. All those moments will be lost in time, like post from 2012. They're talking about Threads. It says Threads is an assault on the senses. Once you've experienced it, it's impossible to scrub from memory. Threads is a kaleidoscope of disturbing images and unpleasant information, a cautionary tale to be avoided, and a revelation of truth that feels stark and unavoidable. I like this one too. Look at this. Slate writes, Meta's new Threads app is terrible. It just might bury Twitter. The first sentence is good. The second sentence is bad. But yeah, it is absolutely awful. If you can't even get the left to cheer for this app, I don't know what you're going to try and pull off.
They really messed up by opening up the fire hose of data to new users and making them see tons of people that they weren't interested in, rather than give them like 5 categories, have them auto subscribe to like 5 accounts or 10 accounts and let them find their way. Because having to block people the minute you walk into a social network is the most antisocial tactic or technique. You do not want your users blocking each other. That's like a failure of the system.
Well, so here's the thing with Threads, right? So like, again, I'll pull it up. And if I go to my home feed, let's just see who we end up with. Like Paris Hilton. I don't care to follow Paris Hilton, but I don't want to block Paris Hilton.
Exactly.
Right.
Because at some point in the future, Paris might do something that gets re-threaded or whatever, and maybe run for president. And it's like, I want to see that post. Then I got to be like, oh, they did. I better go unblock them to see it. That's ridiculous. But that's what happens when it's a bunch of random people. I mean, why is it recommending Taylor Lorenz to me? Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.